It takes a lot more than jailing your political rivals to earn the title Wannabe Dictator. That's the consensus in Washington tonight. And in some ways, for once, the consensus may be right. It is not a small thing to be a wannabe dictator. It's quite a process. There are a lot of steps. First off, there is the money. The one thing that all dictators have in common is they enrich themselves and their families, their tribe, even as the countries they govern grow steadily poorer and more desperate. They take kickbacks from businesses and from other dictators. They use the official functions of their government to funnel cash to themselves. They don't bother to hide the fruits of this. They live in garish mansions with big lawns, far from the teeming cities, even as their own citizens languish in growing poverty, in some cases literally living in tents on the street.
You catch Tucker Carlson's recent segment on wannabe dictators? Play the clip.
It is not a small thing to be a wannabe dictator. It's quite a process. There are a lot of steps. First off, there is the money. The one thing that all dictators have in common is they enrich themselves and their families, their tribe, even as the countries they govern grow steadily poorer and more desperate. They take kickbacks from businesses and from other dictators. They use the official functions of their government to funnel cash to themselves. They don't bother to hide the fruits of this. They live in garish mansions with big lawns, far from the teeming cities, even as their own citizens languish in growing poverty, in some cases literally living in tents on the street. So they don't really hide it, it's all pretty blatant. And ordinary people resent it. Of course they do. And wannabe dictators know they resent it, but they don't care. There's nothing the population can do about it in a dictatorship. It's no longer possible to fight injustice in a system like that. People can't gather in large numbers to protest the rule of the dictator. If they try that, they'll be arrested by a state security service.
Seems to me that the Prime Minister ticked a few of those boxes. What do you think? Live free or die. Will the Canadian Great West secede from the Union? Or will this dude get a new lid? I'm a big fan of headgear, but that's kind of a goofy hat. This is a goofy hat too. Trudeau is backpedaling. More rubbish, more rhetoric. Play the clip.
On foreign interference, sir, will there be a public inquiry? And the Bloc has suggested a group of what appears to be Montreal-centric people, but what do you think of that list?
I think it's good that we are seeing contributions, constructive contributions from various parties right now. Foreign interference is an issue that needs to be taken seriously. If we can move past the toxicity and the partisanship that has characterized the approach by many parties and actually take this seriously, work together and figure out a way to highlight everything that is being done and what next steps can be taken, it'll be a
I've been covering Trudeau for quite some time. And I always know when he's in trouble. He starts talking fast. He just starts rattling off rhetoric. Whenever he does that, your antennas should go up. Know why? Because it's all a bunch of manure. Blast from the past. Justin Trudeau describing himself. Play the clip.
I think what we need is for the Prime Minister to start telling the truth to Canadians. We need the Prime Minister to understand that this is very serious. It goes to the heart of the trust that Canadians have, not just in this Prime Minister, but in the office of the Prime Minister. Regardless of partisanship, regardless of who we vote for, all Canadians need to know that the Prime Minister and his office behave with integrity. And what we've seen consistently throughout this is the Prime Minister has refused to take responsibility and has refused, quite frankly, to tell the truth to Canadians.
Very interesting. Mr. Trudeau, you've become the very thing you despise. And now the people, sadly, despise you. Justin Trudeau gave $200 million of your tax-paying, hard-earned income to a Beijing-controlled bank. Play the clip.
My government believes very, very much in the importance of investing in infrastructure, and that's one of the reasons why we're looking very favorably at the possibility of joining the AIIB. But being able to join in this excellent initiative of the AIIB that China is leading on, that is going to create opportunities not just for citizens in China, but for citizens across Asia to get access to good infrastructure.
The Asian Infrastructure Bank is actually designed to support clean and green infrastructure investments throughout Asia.
Today I learned of the resignation from the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank by a Canadian citizen who voiced serious concerns regarding the bank. The Government of Canada will immediately halt all government-led activity at the bank.
The foreign minister has announced a massive diplomatic breakthrough with China. That country's leaders have given the prime minister the nickname Little Potato. And in order to reciprocate that gift, he provided them with $250 million of Canadian tax money in the form of a contribution to the Asian Infrastructure Bank. That's no small potatoes even for this spend-happy prime minister. Will this government finally show some respect for taxpayers and cancel this waste of money?
This excellent initiative of the AIIB that China is leading on. This excellent initiative of the AIIB that China is leading on. This excellent initiative of the AIIB that China is leading on.
Couple comments. Countries in the West, like Canada, like America, should not give China a red cent. No, not one single red cent. Why? Because they're at war with us. It's about time we call them out publicly. Don't help them. Don't support them. Ultimately, every cent we give to China works against us. They are at war with us. That's point one, and it's about time Justin Trudeau opened his eyes to that reality. Same in America, for that matter. Point two, they call him the little potato. The little potato. I don't know where they get that from. I can't speak for you, but I don't want to be called a little potato. And lastly, people, don't you think that all this money that's being thrown around the world by your prime minister should be utilized to help your own people? Truly, I get the geopolitical responsibilities of a G7 nation, but ultimately Canada is being bulldozed. People can't afford basics. And why is your government giving all this money away? It says something. Actions speak. They do not prioritize the people. They simply don't. And again, I'm not just talking rhetoric. Actions speak. When you're giving $500 million to the Ukraine, $200 million to China, and I can go on, and you're ignoring your own people, you're not putting your people first, your country is deteriorating, and that is not what leadership is. Leadership remembers one thing. It could be drilled down right to the home to a father. Charity begins with your own. Ultimately, Canada must put its nation first. It hasn't. Justin Trudeau has neglected his responsibilities. I want you to listen to this man. This is not rhetoric. They absolutely intend on making this a law. And if you ask me, they got a good shot at it. Play the clip.
Legislation and the ministers today, you're using words like accountability, policy, roadmap. What does this practically mean for the energy worker in Newfoundland, in Fort McMurray? What does this practically mean to them so that they are not sitting there today thinking this bill is just about putting me out of work?
I say to them, this puts them in the driver's seat. They will lead the energy transition. That's not rhetoric. They're sick of rhetoric. This is going to be law. They will lead the energy transition in Canada.
Couple comments. The Sustainable Jobs Act will put the Canadian oil and gas industry in the grave, along with more jobs for hardworking people than you possibly could imagine. This will cause absolute and utter financial chaos to the average man in Canada, whether you work in that industry or not. And then the next step is the universal income. And then, my friends, you are a slave. Welcome to the plantation, because that's exactly where they want to keep you, because poor people are easily controlled. I want to read you a tweet Trudeau just put out and a picture of him and Zelensky. This is what he says. Canada and the Ukraine are united against Russia's attacks and aggression, and President Zelensky and I are committed to working together and holding the Russian regime to account. Last week, I visited Kiev, and this is the declaration we released. What he didn't say is in that declaration, he is condemning Zelensky for wearing that green shirt. He's demanding he takes it off, and he's telling both the people of the Ukraine and Canada that it absolutely and utterly reeks of manure. Justin Trudeau, just another day at the office, going home to wifey and kids. Play the clip.
Fuck your C11.
Hey, it's us again.
Fuck you, Trudeau, you little piece of shit.
Dude. What about this guy? Got arrested for swearing right here.
Fuck right here.
Fuck Trudeau. Fuck Trudeau. Who's going to arrest him for swearing now? Who's going to arrest him for swearing now? Nice firearms. You guys get to keep your guns, but you're going to take all of ours? Hey, I see your guns in there, guys. You want to take all our guns, but you're fine with yours. So you can arrest us for speaking. Bunch of losers.
Gonna get you, you fucking piece of shit. Gonna get you, go, come out.
Couple points. This dude is truly hated. You see those people? That's probably every day if I was to bet. That's just another day at the office. As I said, that's point one. Point two. You see all those SUVs? Who's paying for the gas for all those vehicles? And who? You. Could you pay for gas for your little vehicle? Probably not. But why does Justin care? It's not his money. Coupled with the fact he's worth $85 million. He actually could afford to fill it up, but he doesn't have to because that's your money. Point three. This guy's so concerned about the environment. He wants electronic cars and blah, 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 blah. Look at all those SUVs. Hundreds of dollars to fill up that tank for each car. He doesn't care. Once again, it's your money. He could care less. Just another day at the office. Justin Trudeau casually walking down Wellington Street to the Bank of Montreal. Play the clip.
Justin Trudeau. Where's he headed?
Did you have a 40% stake in Acuitas Pharmaceuticals? Did you have a 40% stake? Did you have a 40% stake?
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has entered the Bank of Montreal building. I am camped out across the street in front of the House of Commons. There are PPS and his detail around, so I'm going to wait, see if I can't catch him coming out of the building. Stand by.
Notice how many security guards surround this dude. I'll be honest with you. I have never seen a more hated person. He is so anti the regular man. It's absurd. It's absurd. And he gets away with it. The press is in his pocket. He squirms and he slides around every issue. And you guys let him get away with it. Unbelievable. Canada needs to know.
Hey guys, stay up to date with all of our content at Locals. We post videos and updates not found on this platform. Thank you for your support.